You are entering ENC's Pod of Awesomeness.
Oh, yeah, so my name's the Birdman, and I'm hosting the show. And so what I do is I pump my fist and say, fight! Fight! Fight!
Yeah. You like that, huh?
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the Birdman's show, Night Fight, or a show that he's a part of, not his show, but Night Fight debuted after the show that I am on, Vikings, on the History Channel this week.
Yeah.
Birdman was there looking all James Dean in his jacket and his coiffed do. Fight! Fight, eh?
Fight, go ahead and fight. Caca! I thought about flapping my wings, but I didn't know if it'd come across very...
might throw people off.
Might throw people off a little bit. If it was Night Flight, it might be different.
Yeah.
Get it?
So yeah. I do, yeah. So as we've talked about, both dads, I get tired around, like, for me, 10 o'clock is pushing it, right? So that's when it came on, and I pushed it till 10:30. And watched the first half an hour, and it was really fun. I'm going to go back and watch the second half an hour, but those dudes are like tooling each other. I don't know how else to put it. I sound like complete like Canadian there, but I mean, I am, so that's okay. But folks, these guys are in full armor and hitting each other with, I'm assuming, blunt axes.
Yeah, I've talked about it before. They're blunted weapons. Thanks for listening to me. But yeah, they're full size, full weight of the same weapons you'd see in different historical eras, and they're out there smashing the shit out of each other, for lack of a better term, with these things. I mean, obviously there's a technique to it and all the rest, but I mean, I was really happy with the first episode. It's gotten great feedback so far, but I just don't think there's any show like it on TV right now. I mean, these guys dressing up, and don't forget they have like 80 pounds of extra weight with that armor on top of their bodies, and they're trying to fight. They're trying to swing these weapons. They're trying to defend. They're trying to be aggressive. They're trying to win these fights. And you get knocked down and trying to get back up with 80 extra pounds on is not an easy thing to do.
I got to tell you, from doing battle scenes in like Viking wardrobe and weapons, and that's tiring, because of all the extra movement and weight that you have with all of that movement and everything. So, and you're not trying to hit each other. Yeah, that one dude had a long axe or whatever, and he just clubbed the other dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, anyway. Like, you think about it too, like the armor doesn't cover all parts of your bodies. Like, there's gaps. And when it
looked like there was some like liver and kidney gaps that got reefed on a couple of times.
The joints. When it's especially when you see it up close and personal, like I did, man. The velocity that these things are getting swung with, these weapons, and then the sound that it makes, just it's intense. But I was really happy with it. It was. What's that?
Sorry, but how many of the guys piss themselves?
I don't know.
Like, literally, I don't mean just like they're nervous. I mean,
no clue.
Did anyone actually like defecate in their armor?
If anybody did, I don't think they were speaking up. But
gotcha.
I don't know, but it's all the feedback I've gotten on it from social media. Everybody enjoyed the first episode of Night Fight. So, if you want to check it out, fight every Wednesday at 10 p.m. So, appreciate the support. I'm sure the Knights would as well, because they're out there putting it all on the line for your entertainment.
Since I'm plugging you unabashedly, and you never plugged me on Vikings, so I got to plug myself.
It's a huge show. You don't need the plug.
Hey, January 23rd, 1984. Guess what happened?
Let me guess.
If you don't know, I'm going to be so disappointed in you.
Yeah, the Hulkster won his first World Heavyweight Championship.
Defeated the Iron Sheik. It's like 35 years ago. Think about that.
Yeah.
35 years ago.
I mean, think about it. Like, Hulkamania was when I first started watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Hogan is the one that kind of sucked me in. And off the heels of the Rocky 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, man.
I just remember that clip, the leg drop, the tight hook with the head. You know, he had the head hook too, and
cheeky kick in his legs like there's no tomorrow. Yeah,
yeah. It had the curly-toed boots and the Coliseum home video music playing.
Oh man,
right?
I loved the Coliseum home video opening montage. Loved it. I would like watch that whenever I went and rented. It was amazing.
I think Kamala was getting slammed in a steel cage from Maple Leaf Gardens in there by Andre, and
oh man, it's the best. I'm sure you could find it online somewhere, like on YouTube or something. But man, I used to like rewind that when I'd rent a WWF videotape from the video store, from the video station, brother.
Video station, brother.
That was our home. That was our hometown video store.
Brother.
Yeah, I would go in there and I would rent one of those bad boys. More times than not, have you over, and we just watch that opening over and over again.
Most unusual matches. That was that was one of my favorites. Yeah. January 27th, 1993, Andre the Giant passed away.
Also crazy. Think how long.
Also crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just yeah. I wish that I was able to be in a locker room with that guy.
I know.
You know, just to I don't know, just to kind of be in the same room as Andre the Giant and
I know, and
see how that worked, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you think about too the amazing documentary that was on HBO this year. Yeah. With Andre. And I remember many times, you know, sitting with Tim White, who was featured on that documentary, and just chatting with him and hearing his stories about his time with Andre and stuff. And like, you know, when you grow up a fan like we were, to hear those stories, it's amazing that you get to sit there and hear from a guy that traveled with him, the guy that knew him, that was, you know, just lived with him at times, you know?
Yeah. Hear some of those stories, and the stories that I'm sure most people have heard. You know, the cases of wine and the however many 100 beers or something like that. Just let alone what he did in the ring, but just kind of the legend that is Andre the Giant. And not to mention, like, go back and watch The Princess Bride.
Yeah,
such a great movie. Like, and how great he was in that. Andre, man, he was. I mean, you say one of a kind, but that guy was truly one of a kind. I saw this picture on my Instagram feed. You know how like sometimes stuff will just come up if you've looked at a picture or whatever, and I don't know why, but one came up of Wilt Chamberlain, Arnold, as dressed as Conan, because they were filming Conan the Barbarian, and then Andre in full street clothes, and Wilt and Andre are holding Schwarzenegger up off the ground, you know, by his elbows. And you don't realize how big Wilt was too.
I know. Yeah.
It's pretty. I mean,
I remember meeting Shaq backstage and seeing how big he was.
Yeah.
Massive.
That was the first time, because I think it was in Miami, and I just remember being engulfed from behind and thinking, okay, this has to be Show. And then I looked down and I was like, well, Show's not black, so who is this? and I kind of looked up over my shoulder and he's like, hey, baby. I was like, oh, it's Shaq. How's it going? Nice to meet you.
That was a pretty good Shaq impression, too.
You like that?
Almost as good as your Dusty impression.
Oh, don't get me started, man.
You haven't dropped your Dusty impression in a while. Just throwing that out there.
You are correct. But now that you've set it up, I can't just blow it out right now.
Yeah, it's got to be spontaneous, right?
Surprise you. Yeah. Hey, Royal Rumble this weekend. NXT TakeOver this weekend.
Yeah.
Those are pretty big. I mean, and I know some may argue SummerSlam is the second biggest show of the year. Mm-hmm. And while I may agree, just because it hits the halfway point, I personally have always dug the Rumble more, just because I love the Rumble itself. It's just such a great concept that Pat Patterson came up with and has stood the test of time and then some. just a fun show, and it's going to be really interesting this year because it's in a baseball stadium. Right?
Yeah,
it's in Chase Field.
It makes it feel even bigger. And like you said, you know, the surprises are always a cool thing, and you know, the 2 Rumble matches I think adds to it as well. I think that's going to be great. And then also our guest today, Finn Balor, he's got the big one.
That's right.
Yeah, against Brock Lesnar. So
yeah, you know, we've talked about having Finn on the show for a long time now, and I felt like perfect time to pull that trigger. So we're going to talk to him about what is, I mean, arguably the biggest match of his career. And but back to Chase Field and a baseball stadium, it's going to be interesting the crowd dynamic on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think the last time was probably Safeco Field, where it was. And that crowd, if I remember correctly, because I was sitting at home with my stupid neck, but if I remember correctly, it was a pretty good crowd. So hopefully, you know, it translates and the sound doesn't go up and out into the air, kind of thing, because that can always be the danger, right?
Yeah, is this one newer? Is this a newer venue? How old is this stadium? Because I remember like when we wrestled in Houston at the Astrodome, and you couldn't hear anything. But then I remember going back to Houston years later and wrestling in the new stadium, and you could hear everything because the acoustics were so good.
True. So you know, but again, it goes up and out. So I don't know how much acoustics will have to do with it. I don't know. But what I will say is that for the folks who always say they want something new, they always want someone new in the title matches. You know, there's a lot of those people and fans.
Hold on a second, brother. Hold on 1 second. You get back to your thought 1 second, brother. Oh, you said I heard somebody say something about out and in, brother. Oh, let me tell you something about out and in. Oh, pause package right now. I'm throwing my hat in that 45-man Royal Rumble match, brother. Oh, you want to talk about out and in? I'm going down and out, brother. Oh, that's what I'll tell you right now. I'm going down and in, not in and out. I don't even know what you said. I'm so confused right now. Oh, but all I know is 45 other men are getting rolled up at once, brother. I'm holding them all there, and then I'm gonna jump over the top rope, and I'm gonna win that match myself. Ooh, and I'm gonna strut on back to ooh, I'm gonna strut on back, brother. Oh, to Grapevine, Texas. Oh, the pride of Grapevine, brother. Oh, I'm gonna be the Royal Rumble champion. Oh, I'm headed to WrestleMania, brother. Someone's getting rolled up, and someone's getting rolled up tight. Ooh, I'm out.
Whoa, see. Again, I will give my synopsis of Mr. Smackage's diatribe. There's 45 people in this Rumble that he's competing in. And he said he's going to roll them all up tight and then jump over the top rope. So I don't know if he has the concept exactly down. I do appreciate that he's going to strut on back, and made sure to repeat it 3 times in case we missed it. Back to Grapevine.
I think he just didn't know what he was going to say next.
He sounded a little flustered on that one. he sounded a little confused.
He said something about going down and out, or in and out. What was
down
he
and
talking
out
about?
and in, and I don't know. It became something else almost. But
I don't know.
That's the power of Paul's ad lib, right? I mean, he's winging this thing.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by the man from Grapevine. So, you always...
I thought he almost forgot where he was from. I think that was the problem.
Yeah? and that's what threw off the rest of his flow.
So. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just speculating.
Of course you are.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, so you get folks who... say they want something different. They feel the product is stagnant, it's stale, it's this, that, and the other, right? So you get Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler in the main event of a pay-per-view, and the crowd, you know, starts counting down a clock, and they're busting their ass. I really, really hope that the people that say they want something new and in this instance are really getting it with 2 new, fresh matchups with, you know, people and talent that are, I guess, for lack of a better term, you know, IWC darlings. I really hope that people come unglued for Balor and Brock and for Sasha and Ronda. and show that here's the only way to open up if they think Vince's eyes are closed to what they want. The only way to open up his eyes is to open up his ears, and the only way to open up his ears is to blow the roof off a roofless baseball stadium. But you know what I mean? It makes some noise and be there for it and enjoy it, and that can move the needle. You know what I mean? I mean, it's been proven with the Daniel Bryans of the world. So I just hope, because I feel like Balor is a guy who deserves it too, and we'll talk to him about it. But I feel like it can be a really cool, fun, completely different match. And what I like about Brock's stuff lately is that from working AJ to working Daniel Bryan and now Finn, it's a completely different thing than, you know, folks who are complaining about Reigns and Brock so much, or Goldberg and Brock. And it's like, well, okay, I personally like the Godzilla King Kong thing, but this is cool. This is Spider-Man versus the Incredible Hulk. So
especially after what happened on Monday, you know, with you know, Finn getting involved in the opening segment and you know, using all his attributes to his advantage and kind of, you know, getting his way with Brock a little bit. You know, it made him look legit, and I think that was a good way to go about it.
And they need to, you know, and I hope that translates to the match as well, you know. But it's a cool looking show. You know, you have those two new fresh matchups, and it does feel like the Ronda Sasha thing is hot shotted, you know. But again, back to my point that I brought up last week, who knows how long Rousey's under contract for? So they might be going, okay, we got to burn through these, you know, dream matches that could have build, because you just don't know, right? So you have those two matches. You got Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, and I think this will be an opportunity for them to have the kind of canvas that they need, because I don't know if, you know, live on SmackDown is the first time to have that type of match. It's too late now, but it doesn't usually translate to enough time, or you know, the kind of people waited a long time for that match, and then just 1 week it was thrown there. So hopefully, you know, with the proper amount of time and everything, they can do what they can do, you know. Asuka and Becky, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I like the dynamic in this one too. You know, I think that, like you said, I think Asuka has really, you know, in the last little while, she's made us. I remember we talked about a little bit before that we didn't really kind of fully get it, but she's really made believers out of us in the last little while. I think she's super talented, and she's really hit her stride. And same with Becky. I mean, we've had her on a few weeks ago, and you know, she's really found this thing with being the man, and it's taken her to a whole nother level. And when you get that, in turn takes your matches to another level. When you can get that interest from that connection with the fans, where they have that personal connection to you, it makes what you're doing in the ring mean that much more, and their reactions follow suit.
So the bar is wrestling The Miz and Shane McMahon for the SmackDown tag titles, and my favorite part of this is all I saw this week. Yeah. When I picked up my phone the next morning after SmackDown or whatever, because that's where I generally glean all of my information now, all I saw was this meme or GIF, or I don't know what it is, what the difference is, but Shane getting brogue kicked. Oh, yeah. And his head just like wobbling like I had just mocked him with the same stunned expression, like, ugh, and just locked and frozen by this brogue kick. And I immediately just pictured my hand rolling right in and just getting into those jowls and just dunk, 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 dunk. It was the same look on his face. So if anyone is wondering what Shane's face looks like when I freeze him with a mock like I will this year at WrestleMania,
that's it.
All you need to do is go back, watch that clip, and watch Shane's stunned expression as he's falling to the floor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheamus.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay, so let's pick 'em time. Pick 'em. Men's Royal Rumble.
Try to run in here. It's producer Ted here.
Jesus.
I'm realizing that the U.S. title is also on the line. Another belt up for grabs, the strap with
We call them
Rusev.
championships.
Excuse me.
Or titles.
The title, the U.S. title, Rusev versus Shinsuke for the U.S. title, also on there. It's not on your notes, and that's my
Whoa.
bad.
You're
Whoa.
fired. But we'll rehire
Rusev,
you before the show
Shinsuke?
ends. Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a great match, too. I like Shinsuke since he's turned heel. I think he's really stepped up. And Rusev, I mean, he's got the Rusev Day thing. I mean, like, it's so ridiculous that it's great. You know what I mean? Like, the way that it's
and just a super talented dude. I mean,
Yeah.
he always has been.
Yeah.
And so, but again, back to pick 'em. I'm going to put you on the spot there while your buddy there's strutting back the grapevine. Who's winning the men's Royal Rumble? Who's your pick? Pick.
Samoa Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So I'm going with.
I would say that's a dark horse.
Yeah?
I mean,
I don't know.
no.
I feel like he should have. I feel like he deserves the opportunity, a little main event action, even a little run with the title.
I agree.
I'd like to see
I
it.
absolutely agree.
That's the first step, in my opinion.
Huh.
Who are you going with?
All right. I don't know, honestly. I truly don't have any clue, which is a good thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's
I don't
it's
have a
kind of
clue
wide
either,
open.
but that was just my pick.
I mean, hell, if you really wanted to rocket strap somebody, or if you really wanted to just surprise people, but with a guy who's absolutely ready for it, is Andrade. You know,
Yeah.
Almas.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch that stuff he's been doing with Ray, and it's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's very reminiscent of Eddie, and in the way that he could post and take all of Ray's stuff and everything. But he can,
Right.
he's proven he can work anybody, and I don't know. They got a cool thing happening, and they got a cool thing going. So, I mean, that's an outside,
So dark horse, right there, brother.
right, brother. And maybe Rollins too. So
Yeah, I can see Rollins. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Joe.
okay, all right.
I'm not veering. from that.
Women's Royal Rumble. Pick it. Pick. Pick it. I'm going to say Charlotte, unless there's
Yeah?
some kind of chicanery afoot, and I just wanted to say chicanery too. Becky. I know, but just throwing that out there.
I'm going to say Alexa Bliss.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like she'd be sneaky enough to somehow outsmart everyone and win it.
Sneaky. All right.
Sneaky. Yeah.
Who used to do that?
What?
I sneaky.
Wait, you don't like my sneaky?
No, but somebody we used to work used to do that. I'd go, hi, sneaky. It's a Japanese dude. I can't remember who it was. Was it Taka? Anyway. Okay. Takeover. Phoenix. Boom, boom. Also in Chase Field? No, that's got to be in the arena.
What, Takeover?
Yeah.
No, it's in the arena.
Yeah, Talking Stick Resort Arena. My bad.
You know what I miss? I miss, like, names like Maple Leaf Gardens and Madison Square Garden. The Talking Stick Arena is where
Talking
NXT
Stick
Takeover is.
Resort Arena.
Oh,
Don't forget.
beg pardon. But I'm as we've talked about before, big fan of Ciampa, big fan of Black. So anytime those two are working, I'm there for it for sure. And the Phoenix one, old Betty, she's flying the coop. You know, the fiery bird's taking off. She's leaving me with the kids all weekend. You know, she's
got her
which
own
is
thing.
fine.
She's got her own thing.
Which is fine. She's got her own thing going on, and I'm Uber dad. You know, with the umlaut over top. So that's fine. That's fine. I got it. And I'll put them to bed, and then I'll go down and I'll watch her and Shawn Michaels and JBL and Jerry Lawler and Booker T on the panel, you know, and coach. And What I'm wondering is, does she wear a cowboy hat or a crown? Because she's with Jerry the King Lawler and King Booker and JBL and Shawn Michaels.
Maybe she wears a bit of both.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Or she could
does,
dress
I'm
like a cowboy and wear a crown.
I feel like that's something that Paul Smackage would wear.
Silk, yeah. Well, I think
Silk?
it's pretty, yeah, he would. He wears silk jackets. So, we know that.
Okay. All right.
We know this to be true.
Okay, Ciampa and Black. I'm really looking forward to that. They,
Yeah.
both guys. Ricochet, Gargano for the North American title. That'll be ridiculous.
Insane. Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to Undisputed Era and the War Raiders because I really, really like both teams. Undisputed Era, man, they're just really, clicking on every cylinder, and reminiscent of the Revival in NXT when the Revival was given more than 4 minutes to have a match, and really show what they can do, and that's what Undisputed Era is very similar in that regard to me. Different too, don't get me wrong, because they bring a different thing, but just their process of picking body parts and cutting off the ring and things like that. Yeah, and the War Raiders to me are the closest thing that this generation has to a Road Warriors, to a Powers of Pain, to a Demolition. There's not a lot of teams like that now. And I think it's very cool that they bring that element and they can do some amazingly athletic stuff. So it's obviously different, but than those teams I mentioned. But but
then when you have the contrast of the look of either team, and the style, usually and when both teams can go, that usually ends up with something very good for the fans watching.
Yeah.
And
I'm guessing that's going to kick it off. They Undisputed Era usually seems to kick it off because they set the tone and the pace for the rest of the night. Well, hey, but they set a hell of a tone, man, and they set a tone that is tough to follow. I would take that as a massive challenge. Everybody else on that show, to if that does open up to follow it. So. And Baszler and Bianca Belair. That's going to be an interesting one, man, because this is by far the biggest match that she has had, Belair.
Yeah,
and,
I like her. I think she's really talented.
And she's a freak.
Great athlete, and really starting to come into her own. And I think we talked about it previously. I think we both had kind of said that we felt like she was gonna be a big star, and when she finally would break through, and it looks like she's starting to do that. So good for her.
Well, Birdman, our guest this week, who we should probably get to, happens to be a busy guy, and we've already had one botched attempt at this. So let's see if we can't get this straight for the man who will face Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
this weekend for the Universal Championship. He's the first ever Universal Champion. One, a Finn Balor.
A Finn Balor.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna make it work tonight, buddy.
Wait, can you hear me?
I can hear Adam.
Oh, get lost. He's fucking working it already.
Man, that was a good game face there. I bought it. You had me.
And by the way, we should probably explain what happened. We actually tried to do this a couple days ago. You were nice enough on your day getting home from being on the road to give us your time to jump on and talk for a little while. I, for one, feel like you owe it to us. I don't know why. I just feel that way. But we got on and we had some sort of technical hiccup, and you could hear Adam. I could hear Adam. Adam could hear me. Adam could hear you, but you couldn't hear me, if that makes any sense to anybody. So
perfect scenario for me, really.
It is. and really, for every listener of this show, nobody really needs to hear Jay, honestly. But you had the best case scenario.
They don't need to until I'm not there. Then they didn't know they need to. I just blew your fucking minds. But it was kind of like, and I'd said at one point, I was getting frustrated. I was getting very upset because I was talking to Adam. Adam was relaying to you. You were talking to him. He was relaying to me. And I said at one point, I felt like Patrick Swayze in Ghost. Like, I was there and I wanted to talk. I wanted to embrace you and talk to you, and I couldn't do it.
So you want to embrace him and make pottery.
Yeah.
What that also does is makes me Whoopi Goldberg, which is what we're talking about. And I'm fine with that. I am okay with that. It was pretty funny though. If we had that, we didn't record it or save it, but it would have been worth it just for that because Jay was getting so hot, and I really wish someone besides me could have heard it. It was really, really good. It was good stuff. Yeah. But here we are now. We made it. We're making this work.
We're here now, though, guys. We're here now.
We're all here.
And you, again, on your probably last off day, were kind enough to hop on here with us and talk all things you. And I know we had a great conversation about everything but wrestling. This one's going to be probably everything about wrestling. So
I'm probably a lot less interesting.
Probably.
Oh man.
So I mean, but all that being said, that's what we call our fans hosers, which is basically a Canadian version of
redneck.
Redneck's a little more derogatory. Hoser's like, he's an okay guy.
Yeah.
You know?
All Canadians are okay guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so are Irish guys. So this should all work swimmingly.
Three peas in a pod.
3 peas in a pod. So before we go any further, I read the Barrytown trilogy, and which is what the what's the name of the first one? Replace.
As soon as you said red, you lost me. Like,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
but so I read those books. I would have been clueless reading those if I hadn't lived in Ireland for like off and on for 2.5 years. But in living there and kind of soaking in the local culture, and I know I bugged you for things to do. You gave me some great suggestions, but it really started to feel like home for me. And just to kind of relay to everybody, I lived in this village called Dalkey, which is basically right down the road from Bray, which is where you grew up. And it's a really special place. I mean,
like 5 miles, and that's a long distance in Ireland for like towns to be separated. Like towns are pretty close together, but Dalkey's like 2 towns over, I think, from Bray, 2 or 3 towns over. So that's like super like close proximity.
Yeah, like I would round this one bend, where Dalkey Island is there, and I could see Bray, and
across the bay. Yeah.
Yep, we did a lot of filming there. We filmed like the worst weather conditions day that Vikings has ever recorded on, which is filmed on, which is saying something, because they'll film in any weather. But this day was so bad, and it just happened to coincide with this scene where my character had to like kill everybody and cut their heads off and put them on spikes. So it really fit. But man, I have
my character this Sunday.
You're gonna do the head cutting though. But the weather was so like sideways, went right up on Bray Head, and man, it just like bit into you. And I know we talked a little bit about Guinness the other day, but all I could think of was having a shot of whiskey and a Guinness and some fish and chips after that day, because it was like a 14-hour day too. It was no joke. Like, you don't think about that kind of weather there, but it was right up there with some Canadian winter days.
Yeah, it definitely hardens you up. I'll tell you, me, like, having moved from there to Florida, like at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, how did humanity even set up in like Orlando, Florida? Like, how did they sustain life like through August, And well, like I've kind of like acclimatized to it, and now when I go home, like I'm shivering, and like my brothers are wearing like flip flops and shorts, and I'm like shivering cold. So it's I've definitely softened up over a couple of years.
Yeah,
so they
I do
all
the same
get
thing
busted chops now, right?
When I go back to Canada, same thing. It's like your blood thins or something. You just something happens to you pretty quickly. But speaking of your time, growing up in Ireland, so what was your first memory of seeing like wrestling? Like what was it on television or what's your first memories of it?
Yeah, so like my first memory I've ever seen wrestling was when I was in my granddad's house. He used to watch the old World of Sport, so it was like Big Daddy, Giant Haystack. And like this was like so old. Maybe I was like maybe 4 years old because it's like on a black and white TV. And I always like remember that like ITV World of Sport was still like on TV at the time, but my dad would have to watch the wrestling to get like, and then the football, like the soccer results would flash up at the bottom. Because like the wrestling at the time was bigger than the football, so obviously that changed. But that was kind of like my first like memories of ever seeing wrestling. But like I think I really got hooked like around like Hogan Warrior, like WrestleMania 6 was like when like it really starts to stand out in my memory as being like something that like I was like really intrigued by.
Yeah, that was. I actually went to Mania 6, and I already knew by that point, and I was well hooked and everything, but, man, being there live for that was just, it was, I've said before, like, you could truly feel electricity in the air, and that was the first time that I'd ever been in, a stadium, a dome, an arena where it felt like that, and I went, oh my God, I have to feel this again.
You think? Do you think like kids these days get that same feeling that we had when we were kids?
Man, I hope so. But that's a great question. The audience has changed so much, and there's so much more, for better or worse, knowledgeable. I would hope, but I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think there's also something to be said for the distraction of devices and stuff like that. You go to an event and you're tweeting about it, or you're putting something on Instagram or something. So a lot of times you're looking down, at your device as much as you're looking at whatever event, whether it's a concert or a football game or a wrestling match. I think that's changed as well.
Yeah. One thing that's gone too is like the flash bulbs from like old cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much more difficult now, I think, as a performer to try and elicit that kind of reaction or get that kind of reaction because of that. Instead of living in the moment, we're trying to capture the moment so that we can remember it instead of just being there in it. And that makes it difficult for a performer when you got people with their face buried in their phones or trying to record it. It becomes a hurdle in between, the actual art that's being performed and the reaction. But so I don't know. Back to your question, I don't know if that's possible anymore. But I sure hope it is.
Yeah.
I still think there's going to be a generation of kids that are watching what you do and will be heavily influenced by it and decide, okay, that's what I need to do. That dude crawling out like the demon right now, like, yep, that has to happen. I still think that's going to be a thing. But what takes you from watching, Big Daddy to, and when you're coming up and breaking in, it's not like there's a plethora of Irish wrestlers. So
no, there wasn't even a wrestling school in Ireland. So like when I'm like about 15, I'm starting to like figure out, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the business that I want to be involved in. But like, there's no like avenue like in Ireland to get into like pro wrestling. So like I had kind of got it in my head from like reading these magazines like PWI and Power Slam. I was like, well, somebody's ringside and someone's taking these photos of these guys. So maybe like I can be the photographer. So I kind of started like thinking like of like different avenues to get into wrestling. So that was like the first kind of, I guess, like seed of an idea of how to get into the business. And I'd kind of set the wheels in motion to start going to like art college or photography college. and stuff like that. But then like one week I was like reading Power Slam magazine, and in the back of the magazine there was an advert for a wrestling school in England called Hammerlock. And I had about like, I want to say 4 months left in high school at the time. I said, that's it. Once I finish high school, I'm gonna go start training in England. And told my parents, they were supportive. And like, it was only like, it wasn't like a permanent move. It was like a 2-week training summer camp. You know, you could sleep in the gym, and they'd like, you know, do whatever 9 to 5 training. And hopefully at the end of it, you might get a little match or like a gym show or something. So that was kind of the start of it. Right, like I finished high school and I don't know, like June, and then I started like the first camp was like August 1st.
So how, because we've talked about it often with folks on the show and, you know, kind of our experiences with training, but like, I know for me, man, that first bump in a ring, I went, what is going on here?
Yeah. Like, so
that's a wake-up call, right?
Yeah, I'd been I'd been doing backyard stuff and, you know, schoolyard stuff and classroom stuff and, like, you know, super kicking people and jumping off walls in my backyard and stuff, all this stupid stuff that kids do. But like that I remember that like first morning of waking up after the first day of training. So it's like day 2 of training, waking up. Like I had to like roll onto my front, like press up off the ground. Like every muscle in my neck was just like jammed up. I was like, what the hell is going on? Maybe it's wrestling. I'm not cut out for it, you know? But I think that was like the only moment in my career that like I doubted like whether it was for me, like that first like morning waking up after that first training session.
Yeah, it's not normal. So I think it's completely normal for your body. Is this right? So how does it all take off from there? Like, and who? I'm intrigued by this. Like, who are the influences? You know, because we all got them, and we all have those kind of cherry picked guys or girls that we watched and went, oh, okay, I dig what they're doing. I got to make it my own. But those are my guys.
There wasn't like one particular. Obviously, like as a kid, I was hugely inspired by Shawn Michaels. But I think like by the time I'd started wrestling, I was like a huge fan of Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask matches.
Nice.
And like that was kind of like what I was like studying and trying to like not emulate, but like definitely like was inspired by. And I think
so
like
at this point, were you getting like bootleg type like videotapes of this, like these Japanese matches, or yeah. So pretty much my hobby was trying to get any bootleg tape from any promotion in the world. I'm like I didn't care if I got like, you know, 10 tapes from like, you know, the same company. I wanted like one from every different company so I could kind of get a gauge on like where the whole world was at. So like I was getting like CMLL, AAA, all these like obscure, like at the time Japanese promotions, and like just pretty much anything. I would buy anything that came online that was like available, that was different, that I hadn't seen, that had like different wrestlers from like different like, you know, territories. And that was like before YouTube, you know. This is like 98, 99, and then into 2000 when I kind of like was, you know, when I started. But like collecting all those tapes, that was like, you know, me putting myself through wrestling college, you know, trying to like figure out like the lay of the land. But I would say like I was inspired particularly by one person. Like obviously there was a lot of influences, and definitely like watching like Guerrero and Malenko, then Dynamite and Tiger Mask, and then obviously like Shawn. But that was more for like the showmanship than anything else.
Yeah. So I mean, because you know the guys you just mentioned, very Japanese influence through all of that, you know, like Eddie, Dean, Dynamite, they all spent a lot of time in Japan. Tiger Mask, obviously. Did that feel to you like that was going to be the route for you to really get in and kind of, you know, make your bones in the business?
You know what? I didn't know what the route was at all. I just like wanted to have one match, and like I had one match, and then I'm like getting kind of integrated into this like kind of British wrestling scene that's like very different than everywhere else, and I'm kind of starting to try and figure that out and adapt like what I can do to fit in there. And it wasn't like I had like a vision of where I wanted to go. Obviously, like I believe in like the universe and like attracting your own thoughts, and like I'm sure like I put it out there a lot, but like it wasn't necessarily a goal that like I had like said, hey, I want to go to Japan and wrestle. I just really wanted to wrestle, and I wanted to wrestle more. And I had that first match. I wanted to have a second, and then I wanted to have a third. And I was like, all right, I'm getting a hiatus in England. I want to have a match in the States. And a lot of people don't know, I actually came to the States in like 2004, and that's what got me to Japan.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm not good at like timelines and years and dates and details. I just know like
just make it up.
You know, yeah. So basically, I've been wrestling kind of like 5, maybe 6 years in the UK. Me and my buddy Paul Tracy, who I started out with, we started a wrestling school in Ireland, like under the kind of tutelage of our coach in England. And we've been running that for about 3 years and running different little, like, you know, spot shows and a training camp. And we had like some great, like, students coming through, like Becky was one of them. Jordan Devlin was another one. Like, but they all kind of came in and like done their own thing and trained themselves. So that was fine. But I felt like at this point, like in my life, like I had kind of peaked and maxed out. I was like, you know, I was big fish in a small pond, and I wasn't going to grow any bigger unless, like, you know, I got out of this pond. So I had this idea, well, I've got an aunt in Boston, and, you know, I can get like a 3-month like vacation visa to go and stay with her. So why don't I just like go and try and like get booked on some indies in Boston? So that's pretty much what I done. I went, I flew to Boston in like September of maybe 04, 06, I don't know, and started working indies out there.
Wow. I did not
So
know
how does that translate into getting seen to go to Japan?
So this is what happened. I start getting like booked pretty solid in Boston, like Chaotic and New England Pro Wrestling, all these places. And I had like 3 bookings for this one weekend that I was booked on. But like a bunch of the Irish guys and English guys were booked on a show in Nashville, which is the NWA Anniversary Convention show. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I figured I'm going to not take the bookings in Boston. I'm going to fly myself to Nashville, see all my buddies, and maybe I'll wrestle a match in Nashville. So I get to Nashville, and I end up wrestling Drew Onyx from Montreal, one of my good buddies, and I wrestle him, and Dave Marquez is there representing the Inoki Dojo in California. He's there. He's got like Rocky Romero and Alex Kozlov in a match. And I guess he's part of the NWA convention as well. So he sees my match, and he comes up to me after the show and he says, "Hey man, I'd like you to come out and train with us in California for a little bit." So on the same show, the guys from High Spots were also there. And the guys from High Spots came up to me after my match and said, "Hey man, we'd like you to work for High Spots. And, you know, you come down to, I can't remember where they're based, but, you know, you come down, you work at the tape factory." And bear in mind, I've been like buying stuff off High Spots, like, you know, gear, videos, everything. So I'm like, oh my God, this is High Spots asking me, do I want to work for them? This is cool. But like deep down, I was thinking like, well, I don't want to work in a factory doing tapes. I want to like learn how to wrestle off like the New Japan Dojo guys. Mm-hmm. So I made the decision to go to California and started with the Inoki Dojo there. But like I was only there 3 weeks, and I was coming up on like my 90 days like visa is expired. So I had to leave, and I left on like 89 days, flew back to Ireland, which was like right around Christmas time. I was like pretty much like, okay, this is it. That was my wrestling journey, and now I'm like back in Ireland, and I'm gonna like, you know, the little knowledge that I picked up along the way, I'm gonna like hand it down to the boys that were at the wrestling gym. And like I get a call in like, I don't know, like January 10th or something, like a couple weeks after Christmas, and I'm like, "Hey man, this is Dave Marquez again. Hey, we want you to come back out and train. You know, we really thought you done well." I was like, "Well, man, I don't got no money, and I don't got no money for flights or nothing." He goes, "Oh no, we'll take care of you. We'll pay your flight if you come and train." So I was like, oh wow, so this is like kind of the first time someone's even like flown me somewhere, let alone like overseas, you know. So so I get back on the flight. I get nailed at customs because, like, you know, they've just got this Irish kid who was here for 89 days on a 90-day tourist visa, and like 3 weeks later he's coming back into the country. So I get grilled at customs, but like I'd kind of like foreseen this, so I had like Marquez write up like this like sheet of paper saying I was invited for a week to train in California at this training seminar, blah blah blah. So so they finally let me in with this like week return ticket that I had. So I was supposed to go back like to Dublin like 7 days later, but I just never took the flight back. And pretty much started training there. And after about, I want to say about 6 weeks, just by chance, the president of New Japan at the time was like passing by, and he came into the dojo in California, and he seen me training, and he said, let's give this guy a shot in the dojo in Tokyo.
Nice. When you were in LA at the New Japan dojo, did you live at the dojo?
Yeah, well, I say live. It was a sleeping bag on the wrestling mat.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a warehouse at the time on Olympic Boulevard, maybe, or something like that, like close by Santa Monica.
Right.
And yeah, it was just a warehouse. We slept there, and we'd walk to Ralph's and get egg whites and pot noodles, and that's pretty much what we ate for a couple of months. Me, Carl Anderson, another guy, Jag from Australia, Mikey Nichols, who was in NXT for a bit, and that was the four of us. And obviously Rocky Romero was coming in and out because he was kind of working the tours in Japan at the same time.
Wow.
It's funny you talked earlier about how, you know, you feel like if you put something out there, you can, you know, rule of attraction, I guess, or, you know, pulling things toward you. And it sounds like that's happened already in the beginning of the story, you know, multiple times. Like the president of New Japan just happens to be walking by. Obviously it's their dojo, but he's there, he sees you, you just happen to be in there, and next thing you know, you're in Japan. Is that how this all, and you're training in that dojo and then start getting on the shows, or?
Yeah, pretty much. You know what the weird thing is, and this is a small detail that I don't know if it's true or not, but they told me later that the reason why the president paid attention to what I was doing was because it was a tag match, and I was just working the apron. And like they don't really do that in Japan. So he's watching this training match where it's like a little kid that's used to watching or used to wrestling in the UK, where it's like important to like work the apron.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees that and he goes, "Oh, this guy's like a little different." So that was like one like little small detail that helped me stand out. But going back to your question, it was, do you want to go train in Tokyo for 3 months? You'll be a young boy. You won't really get paid. We'll pay you in food, training. You can do the laundry, clean up after the other wrestlers, make the ring, and basically do all the jobs that they don't want to do. And I was like, sign me up. Like, of course.
So how old are you at this point?
24.
24, man.
Yeah. So I started in the UK when I was 18, and like I think 24 when I first went to Japan.
So in between your time when you before you left Los Angeles and went to Tokyo, did you go back to Ireland, or did you just go straight to Tokyo?
No, straight to Tokyo.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a big cultural leap from Bray to Tokyo.
Bear in mind, this is a kid that's like pretty much not been much outside of my, you know, county / like Dublin City, like for his whole life. And, you know, I spent, obviously, like the culture shock in Boston and Cali isn't that different, but like I'd never eaten sushi, I'd never used chopsticks, I'd never like had any kind of like Asian food whatsoever. So I go into this dojo where, like, at the time, this was before like iPhones and smartphones, and I remember Naito was the young boy at the time, and all the other boys were out on tour, and it was just Naito. And do you guys know Kobayashi Konyaki? He was like he wore like the long baggy like karate pants like in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And so he was like the head of the dojo, so he kind of like would make the food for us or like help us prepare it. And it was just the three of us, and like they don't have any English. I don't have any Japanese. Like Naito, like went upstairs, rummages around, comes down, and like he's got like one of these like old school like English to Japanese translators. So like, you know, like a calculator. So like that's pretty much like what we use to communicate like for the first like, you know, a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Did you start to pick up some Japanese when you were over there?
So like I started to pick up like little pieces, but I feel like everyone else's English got better with me around because like they were like super like eager to like improve their English, and they'd all kind of like studied it a little bit in school, so they had like a base knowledge of it.
Yeah.
So, that was I always feel like I got the short end of the stick there. I did like learn a lot, like, but I was like in school I was never one for like studying books, still haven't, and like anything I picked up was like not by like force of like study, it was by literally just sheer coincidence and luck.
Yeah, so how long was it you were at the dojo before you started making it onto shows and doing matches and things like that?
So I wasn't supposed to do any matches at all for that first 3 months, and I think I ended up doing one like 5 weeks in or something like that, 4 or 5 weeks in. And I remember like at the end of the 3 months, like you know, they put you on like first match and you're on against one of the other young boys, and they say, hey, go out there and do like 15-20 minutes, and like, you know, we just wrestle around. But obviously like I lose every match, and Liger's the booker at the time, and like they're about to send me home because my 90 days is up. And Liger comes up to me and goes, David-san, I'm sorry you lose every night. I'm like, yeah, no problem, I'm just happy to wrestle. You know? He goes, you come back? I was like, is that an invitation? He goes, yeah, please come back. I was like, okay, cool. So I flew home to Ireland, and like 2 days later they sent me another visa, and they flew me straight back out, and pretty much that was consistently the thing then from then on.
Wow.
So you basically you're making your living but flying back and forth from Ireland to Japan?
Well, the first one was a 3-month stay. The second one was a 3-month stay, like with a week off in between to go home to get a visa. And then I think once I had been there 9 months, they got me a year visa. And so then I was just in the dojo for a year straight. I didn't go home at all.
I think because I came over there to do a Wrestle Kingdom show.
Yep.
And I think that was at the point in time where you were living full time at the dojo, like you were there for like a full year. I feel like we had a conversation about it because I stopped in the dojo to check it out and all those sorts of things. And
yeah,
I remember having a chat with you there, and I feel like you told me that you were not going back anytime soon, from what I remember.
Yeah, I done pretty much like 3 years solid, where if I went home, it was only like for a week, maybe every 6 months, and like that was on my own dime, kind of like the company weren't flying me. It was just maybe, hey, if I needed to see my mom or something, or something happened at home, I would like nip home. But I was pretty much like there straight for 3 years.
Wow. So while you're there, I mean, it doesn't seem like you're the kind of guy that's like looking like, okay, well, I got to get to WWE someday or anything like that. Was that playing in your mind, or were you just like, right, I'm here and I'm going to keep doing my thing, because obviously it was going good for you too? Yeah,
WWE never came into my mind at all. Like I kind of like adjusted my goals, and like, you know, I was watching like, you know, Nagata, Tanahashi, Tenzan, like from ringside every night, like learning from these guys. So like it became my goal to like climb the ladder in New Japan and try and get as good as I can. And I think like I was about 2.5 years into my run in New Japan, and like Johnny Ace called and said, hey, we have an opportunity for you to come to, I can't remember it was something in Florida at the time, but I just didn't feel like it was the right move at the time. I felt like, you know, I was kind of finally starting to get the hang of the New Japan style, starting to kind of get a little bit of a run going, and I just didn't feel like it was the right moment. And they came back like a couple times, like over the years, and like it never felt like the right moment. And honestly, it didn't even feel like the right moment when I finally left. But I thought like my clock was kind of running out with regards like how many years I had left, and like if that opportunity would arise again at the time, you know.
So you were the girl they couldn't get.
Well, I don't know about that. They sure got me good in the end.
So what was it the third time? You just because you thought that window's only going to be open so long, and I better jump through it now, or Japan is going to be the career long thing?
So there was a couple factors, and like I was like 33, like I'd done the Bullet Club stuff. I'd felt like that had kind of like I'd been offered like 2 years beforehand, and at the same time, Gato, who was the booker, said, "Hey, do you want to turn heel?" And I thought, "Oh, this is perfect. I can turn heel. This gives me something like more to sink my teeth into in Japan, and gives me a perfect like excuse not to go to WWE." And so we'd kind of done the Bullet Club stuff. It went cool. They kind of got plans for the future, with like kind of building on what we had done in the first 2 years. And I was kind of like thinking more long term. And I remember asking. I'm 33 at the time, and New Japan had offered me like a 2-year contract, and I turned around and I said, "That's a cool contract, but can I have it for 10 years?" And they something to do with like New Japan was owned by a video game company, and that contract was only for 5 years, so they could only give me a 5-year contract. And I was like, well, that brings me to 38. And I've seen like what happens with like, gaijin / foreign wrestlers when they get to about that age, they start to like wean them off shows and like slowly reduce their schedule. So like maybe I need to like, this is the time to kind of roll the dice with WWE, because like I felt like if I took the 2-year contract at 35, I might not be, what WWE are looking for. So I felt it's time to go. And of course, at the time, like WWE had just started the NXT thing. They'd just done like the first like NXT Arrival, I think it was, and like Neville and Bo Dallas had that ladder match. So I'd seen that. I knew there was kind of buzz behind it, and I felt like, man, this is something like cool. This could be the next cool thing. Maybe
be honest with me about one thing. Did getting the opportunity, knowing that I was wrestling in WWE at the time. Did the thought of you getting a receipt on me play it all into your decision? And I think I know what you what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm in the Tokyo Dome, and I get tagged in. I'm like, man, that's cool. I'm in the ring with Christian. I'm like, you pick me up and you chop me, and it was like, not only was it incredibly painful, and like the noise it made, and like, and also like I was in shock pretty much, because I didn't think you had that power in you. But to rub salt in the wound, you just look me right in the eye and go, "You're in here with the champ."
What a dick! No, thank you. Thank you for confirming for me, for all of the listeners, because every week I say what a dick he is. And slowly
and Adam,
but
I'm pretty sure he like sandbagged me on all my comeback and everything.
Of course he did.
No, you don't have to be pretty sure. I'll confirm it for you right now. I did.
I think I was doing the airplane spin at the time, like in my comeback or some stuff. Did we do that?
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you did. You airplane spin me like a motherfucker. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I airplane spin Carl Anderson in Nagoya?
No.
So like he's like super paranoid about getting dizzy. So it's like, "Hey brother, when you take me out for the airplane spin, once I give you the Iggy, like that's time to put me down." So I'm like, all right. So like maybe like 6-7 spins. Like I might not get the whole 10, but like 6 or 7. He goes, yeah. I literally we get to the comeback. I pick him up. I haven't even gone halfway around, like not even a full rotation, and he's giving me the Iggy. Right? I'm like, what the hell? So I get 2 around, and I put him down, and like he's shoot cross-eyed, looking at me, going like he's not even like selling like a dizzy cell. He's like a frozen statue, like with cross-eyes, staring right at me.
That's great. Oh my God.
It's not quite an airplane spin. It's
airplane flip.
Yeah.
So
I remember
you got stuck in the ring with Jay, and he was a prick.
Oh man,
it's not surprising.
I really bruised up your chest too. I felt bad for a minute.
No, you
But
didn't.
well, thinking about it from that point, right? Like of where you were, and then I obviously, like I said, I really enjoyed the short time we were in the ring together. I think it was a 6-man match, and we had. I felt like the stuff we did was really good in the match from what I remember, and I remember thinking, man, this kid, he's gonna go places. He's really, really talented, and you had that vibe at that point in time that is unteachable. That people talk about the it factor a lot, and people that have it can't explain what or how they do it. But you have this connection with the audience, and you had it even back then, and you could feel it when you were in the ring with you at that point in time as well. When did things start moving up towards Bullet Club, top guy status in that company? Because you were there for a long time. What were the steps that you had to go through to for them to put the trust in you to be a top guy in that company?
I think it was with that company, it's consistency. And I want to say, what year was that, Jay?
It was probably 2006 or 7, I want to say.
Yeah. So, they'd, in 2009, they, ran me pretty good in the Super Junior. I think right to the final with Kanimoto. And then, we followed that up with, the Best of the J Cup, a couple months later, and they ran me all the way to the final with Marufuji. And, they were, good performances. So, I was kind of starting to, earn their respect with regards being able to handle a main event match that they wanted. And then in 2010 they finally put me over in the Best of the Super Juniors, and then I think soon after I beat Marufuji for the junior heavyweight title, and that was kind of the beginning of when they started treating me, or at least booking me a top junior. It wasn't really I would say I wasn't really trusted as a main event heavyweight guy until we done the heel turn, which was maybe 2 years before I finally left. So whatever year that was, maybe 2012.
Yeah, and it's a big deal when they take you from being a junior to a heavyweight. That's a big deal when that transition happens.
Yeah, and I think there was pretty much nothing left for me to do as a junior. I'd kind of I'd held the title 3 different times. I'd won the Super Juniors twice. I had the junior tag title 6 times. So it was either just keep doing the same stuff, or they just took a chance on me. And I'm very glad they did. Honestly, there's been a lot of influencing people in my career, but probably the person who's influenced me and helped me the most, definitely up until that point, was Gato. And I think he's one of the most underrated minds in the business.
Uh-huh.
The first thing I thought of too when you were talking about the transition from the juniors to the heavyweight, it reminds me a little bit of back in the 80s with the IC title, and you'd see the Bretts and the Shawns and the Mr. Perfects and those guys, even Savage, Steamboat, and they'd be at the IC title level, and then eventually it was almost like that was the see how they do there and whether they can make the jump up.
Yeah, very much so, because I didn't gain any weight or change my body shape or anything. I was essentially the same performer doing the same act, but just maybe a little more established by having been put in those matches. But it wasn't anything I'd done differently that made them move me up to heavyweight.
Well, what's interesting too when I watch you is I don't think of that kind of that British or UK style. You know what I mean? I don't picture you that way at all. And do you think that the biggest influence came from Japan and that kind of set your style? Because you really do have I don't know, it's just a different style. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it either. I honestly,
that's not a bad thing at all.
I don't know in this industry what's good and what's bad anymore.
Yeah.
I don't claim to think I know what's good or what's bad, but like,
Just
I
ask
feel
me,
like
I'll tell you.
I feel like very fortunate that I got like retrained in Japan, because like I done 6 years, but it was like that English, that kind of catch style, like very like Johnny Saint-esque, like, you know, and I feel like being retrained in the Japanese style, like a little bit more like, you know, rugged almost. I think that like that definitely helped me like stand out than when I came to America.
Yeah.
So
speaking
sorry.
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, finally pulling the trigger and coming to WWF. How's that all come about? Do you know right from the get-go you're going to NXT? How do you feel about that? Because it's starting to explode at that point. And did you think you were going to change anything? You know, change anything up? I mean, obviously we have the different, you know, incarnations of the character, but I mean, you were painting up over there and everything too. So I don't know. I guess, did you feel like you were, if you knew it was going to be NXT, were you just assuming, okay, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because this got me hired?
So Regal was kind of like my point of contact, and he was like someone who'd always kind of like, you know, put a word in for me. But it wasn't until like Canyon Seaman, who was like head of talent relations for NXT, reached out, and you know, Regal was obviously telling me as well, you know, you'll go in they were very clear from the beginning, you know, you'll go into NXT, you'll start at the Performance Center, you'll be in NXT, you'll work there for a bit, and then, you know, all going to plan, you'll be called up. There was no kind of like time frame as such given, but like I figured, well, you know, I started at the bottom in England. I moved to Japan. I started at the bottom in Japan. Like, if I'm going to go to WWE, like, you know, I should start at the bottom again. So, like, I kind of knew that was, like, the norm. Like, I didn't, like, necessarily want to go straight in onto Raw, because, like, it was a big enough adjustment, like, working a different style in a different country for a different company, around different people, in a different ring, that, like, I was kind of quite happy to go to the Performance Center and kind of, like, slowly adapt and adjust. And I kind of, like, sure, it's like humbling at the time when like you go from working at the Tokyo Dome in front of like, you know, 30,000 people to like doing roles in a factory in Florida, you know. Yeah. But like I knew that, like, you know, if I keep doing what I'm doing, like I'll, you know, eventually rise to the top.
Yeah, I remember I was going into the Performance Center a little bit at the time when you came in, and having a couple conversations with you, and just telling you, just, you know, do what got you there. You know, you were there for a reason, and you know, if you were on their radar, it was for a reason. So just be yourself and do what you do. But another question I had for you was, how important was it to have a guy like Matt Bloom, who you became good friends with over in New Japan? He wrestled over there as Giant Bernard for many years, was a top star in New Japan, and he's now, you know, head coach at NXT. Did that give you a lot of comfort going in? And obviously another culture shock moving back to the U.S. after being in Tokyo for so long. What did it mean having a guy like him there?
Yeah, so like he was like obviously one of my best friends in Japan, and he'd kind of left 2 years before I did, so he'd like kind of like a 2-year head start on me, kind of back in WWE. But he wasn't head coach at the time; he was one of the coaches,
right?
And you know, obviously, like having him to lean on was like a huge benefit. He actually put me up for my first 2 months. I lived with him and his family while I was like looking for my own apartment. So like he played plenty of ribs on me, where like, you know, I'd take a shower and I'd come back into the bedroom and he'd like jump out of the closet, like, and this is like 6'8", like Giant Bernard jumping out of the closet, you know.
Head like a cantaloupe, just
yeah. So yeah, he's honestly, he's been like a big brother my whole career, and you know, I can never repay him for everything he's done for me.
Just picture that big hairy bastard jumping over.
There's another time, like we go to the grocery store and we're getting the groceries for the week. You know, I'm helping him get his groceries, and like I'm pushing the cart out into the parking lot, and he's like holding his daughter's hand. And like I'm walking over to the car. I'm like, it's this car here, right? He goes, yeah. So like I start, like, it's like an SUV, so I like open up the trunk and I start putting the groceries in, and then like I noticed there's like an old lady in the driver's seat, and like as I notice her, like she turns around and notices me, and she goes, "Hello, sir. What are you doing?" And like I look around, and like Bloom's down like the other end of the parking lot, like laughing his head off, like at a different car.
So at what point, that's got to be a nice transition to know you have friends there. But at what point do you feel like you start hitting your stride in NXT?
Good question. I don't know. I felt like getting in the ring with Pac. I think he's one of the best in the world, and getting to like do that match with him at Takeover and like a very like Japanese style match. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if it was a Takeover or just an NXT, but it was like that was a moment where like I thought like, okay, if I can continue doing this type of stuff, like I'm sure we'll be fine. But I think when I started hitting my stride was probably with Samoa Joe, and like that's when I like really felt comfortable in the ring, felt more like myself, felt like I was starting to kind of adapt to like what like WWE needed me to be, as opposed to what like I maybe wanted to be, or like used to be like. So I think like working with Joe for that like long stretch like really helped me kind of step into the role of like Finn Balor as opposed to like Prince Devitt.
That's really when it felt like NXT kind of made a bit of a jump too, in terms of I don't know, just maybe exposure, or it just felt like that's when it distinctly to me became more of a third brand as opposed to any kind of farm system or anything like that. Did it feel like from the time that you had there before you had that run with Joe, did it feel like it changed at any point there?
It definitely, I feel like it changed as soon as we started like touring, like out of state. Because like we were working every weekend, but it was like Cocoa Beach, Orlando Armory, and like Daytona Beach, or maybe one of the little Largo outside of Tampa or something. So like that very much felt like a feeder system for WWE. But like as soon as I think we hit that like WrestleMania in San Jose, like we done kind of like the first like out of state big show like the night before Mania, and I think that kind of like triggered what was to happen. Like it was me and Neville worked, and like there was a bunch of other like cool matches, but like the atmosphere in the building that night, like it felt like a rock and roll wrestling show. And I feel like that's the point where they realized, hang on a second, this can be like something really, really cool. And we started then doing like the out of state tours where we would go to like Philly and Pittsburgh and stuff like that for the Friday, Saturday, Sunday shows. And that's like when it definitely to me turned from like a feeder into a brand.
Well, and that's also too when they started like occasionally putting NXT guys on, because you won the title in the Tokyo, the Beast in the East or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
So they started putting NXT matches on those shows, and I think that to me was like a clear sign. It's like, okay, they know they can, they're going to bring a different viewership to this thing, because it does feel to me like a different audience at times.
Yeah, definitely like the more, I don't know, would you say like diehard fans, that maybe like are still huge wrestling fans, but just like couldn't be bothered watching WWE anymore because they feel like they're not getting satisfied, or they're not getting, the product that they want. So it's definitely like, they are wrestling fans. They were at one point WWE fans, but I think maybe like NXT kind of like satisfies that itch a little more right now, or like at the time. And it's right now. I think it's evolved into something even different than when I was there.
So, I talk about, because with it being a different fan base, how did the jump feel to come to Raw? How, because we've talked about seeing how it seems like it's a different ball game entirely, for the talent to have to try and navigate. Is that what it feels like?
Yeah, it's totally different. And like, you know, and the whole idea of NXT was to kind of prepare you for WWE, and it did, like, in a lot of ways. But like, there's nothing that's going to prepare you for like live Monday Night Raw when you're, you know, used to doing like 2,000 people and in Pittsburgh on a house show. So like, obviously, like, we learned a lot on the TV tapings, but we'd only do those once a month. And you know, if you're only working one match on the 3-episode taping, or 2 matches on the, you know, on the taping, you're not getting that like many reps like that often. So like, it was like, for me, it was a huge jump, like moving to Raw. And like, people kind of like forget that I went to Raw, like, first night was the 4-way in the match with Roman. The second week, like, I done some sort of angle with Seth. And pretty much the third week, I won the title.
Right.
And then I got hurt, and then I went away for a year. So like, when I come back, it's pretty much like a fresh reset. So like, I'm trying to like get my confidence back in myself with my shoulder, and also kind of learn how to work live TV. And also like, it really took me like, I want to say like a year of like, from when I came back from the shoulder injury to of like working consistently on Raw, kind of like starting to feel comfortable.
That's
and
crazy.
I want to
like,
talk about that transition too, because man,
and that's only like 6 months ago, you know?
Yeah. And so talk a little bit about the injury, because I remember watching it, and I swear to you, I saw that bump and I went, oh, something just happened, just by the weird torque of it. And it was early on in the match, right?
Yeah, it was the heat spot. So it was like
some heat.
4 or 5 minutes in.
Yeah. Did you realize like the severity at the time, or were you just like the adrenaline's pumping, and you know, this is obviously a huge match for you, the biggest match you've had up to this point, probably in your entire career? Like, were you not feeling anything, or what was happening?
Straight away, I knew the shoulder was out, because like I could feel it out. I didn't realize like how bad, because like I'd had a like shoulder separation before, where like I could pop it in and it wasn't too bad. But when I hit the deck, I said, "Oh no, your shoulder's out of place." So I instinctively like grab my wrist, like pull it forward, it pops back in. I go, okay, just breathe, calm down, get your bearings, get back in the ring. So I get back in the ring, and like start working. It feels pretty loose, and I think like he shoots me off, and like I reverse him and like push him in the back, and just have like a little push with my right hand on the back, like it pops out again. And I go, oh no, this is like gonna be a big issue. I ended up like coming out like maybe 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
In the match, where I kept like, you know, resetting it, but it was just like, it was, you know, it was totally destroyed. There was like there was a bicep tear, pec tear, the socket was broken, the labrum was torn. So like, that was pretty much what I kept like slipping in and out. And like kind of like halfway through the match, I realized like, you're not going to be wrestling like for a long time. But they said stay the course, and we finished the match, and the rest is history.
Man, broken socket too. Jesus, that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So so the next the doctor kind of like diagnosed that I had the torn labrum. So we go and we get a scan the next day in Manhattan. It was in Barclays it happened. So the next Monday morning we go to Manhattan, we get a scan. They say, yeah, there's a labrum tear there. So like, WWE credit to them, they put me, like, we do the thing with Mick where I hand the title back, and like I'm on the first flight out Tuesday morning straight to Birmingham, and like Tuesday afternoon they cut me open, and Dugas is one of like the best surgeons in the country, and you know, he cuts me open expecting a labrum tear, and like he does like the little keyhole deal, like he says, yeah, you'll be under for about 40 minutes, you'll come out, you'll be back in the ring in 3 months. So like, he goes in with like the camera, the scope or whatever, and he's like looking for the end of the tear on the labrum, and he's going all the way up and all the way up, and he goes, oh no, like the pec's torn. And then he like goes all the way down. He goes, oh no, the bicep's torn too. So then like, he has to like take a lunch and like figure out a game plan how he's going to figure it out and like do the surgery while I'm knocked out like on the desk. So like, I ended up being like out for like 6 hours or something. And like, you know, WWE are calling going like, well, why isn't he out of surgery? It was only supposed to be like a 40-minute ordeal. And like, you know, obviously he had to kind of come up with a strategy as how he was gonna like fix it and in what order and stuff. So yeah, he said it was a big mess in there.
Wow. Damn.
It was obviously something that had been like wear and tear, right? And then like that one thing kind of did it, or was the one?
No, yeah, it's just one violent separation. Like sparked it all. He said like there's no way of knowing. Maybe the pec tear could have been there before, but like, most likely it was the one violent separation.
So what's your mindset after that? Like when you come out of it and you're like, are you more motivated, or are you a little like, you know, you feeling a little bit sorry for yourself? Is it a little bit of everything? Is it you know what? How do you get over that?
Honestly, when I'm sitting on the deck outside the ring, like when it happened and I pop it back in, I literally think to myself, I said, Fergal, very typical of you to put another obstacle in your way to like, getting where you want to be. So like, like good job, buddy. You know,
That's par for the course.
Yeah, I honestly like I really believe in like things happen for a reason, and faith and the universe works like for us and not against us. And like probably like what happened that day was like the universe's way of saying like you're not ready for like what you're about to encounter, and maybe it happened too fast because like my whole career, like I'd start at the bottom and I'd work my way up slowly, and like then all of a sudden like I'm cast into Raw and in like 3 weeks and I'm at the top of the hill. So I think it was the universe's way of like knocking me back down to the bottom of the hill and like making me have that slow climb again. So I'd you know, I think the people around me were more upset for me than I actually was upset. You know, to me, like I was this, you know, 18-year-old kid with a dream of being a WWE superstar, and like I had the Universal title in my hands. So like,
yeah,
I'd done that. I like reached the top of the mountain. So like, what else is there to do? You know. So it was. I don't know.
Get back to work and do it again.
Yeah. I wouldn't change it. You know, I learned a lot about myself, and I got to like mature over the 9 months out and kind of learn a lot about myself and life. And like I hadn't really like taken a break since I was 18. So that was like 2 years ago. So that was like, I was like 16 years of wrestling before I'd like taken a break. So it was kind of the first time I'd taken like an extended like leave of like mental leave from wrestling. So it was much needed, I think.
Yeah, I think your body, it knows, and it just gives out at a certain point too. I think your body knows before your brain does sometimes. And, because I think back, my first injury was a torn labrum, and it was, I think, 11 or 12 years into my career. And that was the first injury I had. And I was stupid, and I didn't get it fixed. And it still bothers me to this day. And if I could go back, that's one thing I would have done is get that surgery and take that time to just kind of recalibrate everything. So you said you were out for a year?
It was like 9 months, I think.
So what are the emotions during that 9 months?
There wasn't much emotion for the first month because it was like, a lot of pain. We had to do like a second surgery where they like put like stem cells and stuff in. So like the first month is pretty much like a blur of like going back and forth to Birmingham and trying to, get everything fixed and get like a timeline of like when I can get back. And then pretty much it was like I just dove headfirst into rehab, and WWE were great. They let me kind of like relocate to Birmingham. So like I'd done like a lot of the rehab out of there. Like I'd do like a week on, week off. Because like, I was so used to being on the road. Like I didn't like being home. So so like kind of flying to Birmingham and doing like a week's worth of rehab down there, like kind of gave me that like satisfaction of being on the road. So I do like a week out in Birmingham, a week at the Performance Center, on and off. And like, honestly, the time flew, and like, it sounds like a long time, like when you say it, like 9 months, but like honestly, it flew. And as soon as like I got kind of my mobility back and got out of the sling and like started having like a normal life, like as a human, like not like as a wrestler, like it was
you can wipe your ass again.
Yeah, like I'd no like obligation to be like at shows at the weekend and stuff. All of a sudden I'm able to go watch movies and watch TV shows and stuff, and like Stranger Things had just came out, so like, it's a cool show. Like, I'm gonna watch this, So yeah, I got like very cultured in the 9 months.
Yeah. And then like you said, you came back and you said up to about 6 months ago, you felt like it took you a year to kind of get back to feeling that feeling out process again of getting back to where you were and kind of building your confidence back up. And, we kind of see where you're at now. I mean, like this stuff that you've done, to me, especially the last couple weeks on Raw, have been great. And we've talked about it on here when Mr. McMahon came out and said that he was going to, they were going to change some things up. And this is exactly, what we talked about the audience, kind of clamoring for and wanting to see different faces. And you're that, and like I said, you have that connection that you can't explain to people, whatever it is that you have with the fans. And I just think the dynamic between you and Brock, man, we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks. We're both really looking forward to this match.
Yeah, I am too. I gotta say, it's a match I've wanted for a long time. Wasn't like, you're never convinced that something's going to happen, but like I said earlier, like if you think about it enough and like you kind of visualize it enough, like I think like eventually, if you put it out there in the universe enough, it'll happen. And like it kind of came out of the blue, out of nowhere, kind of blindsided me. But I'm excited, and it's weird because like I've had like big matches in the past where I've like been super nervous about, and this one I'm more calm than ever going into it. Like no stress right now. My parents are flying in, my little brother's flying in. They're gonna watch ringside. So honestly, I'm just like treating it as like a weekend with my family, and hopefully not get beat up too bad.
It's we've talked about how you have a connection with the audience, and it's sometimes just easier to make a comparison. And I've always kind of compared it to Jeff, and for years Jeff had that connection to the audience, but the trigger never fully got pulled on him, and eventually it did. And the first time he won the title, he pinned me after crushing me with a swanton, and that's the closest comparison. I think you distinctly have your own thing going on, but that's the closest comparison I can think of in terms of like crowd reaction wise. What do you how do you think it's going to play out, even just from because we talked about it before you came on. It's a baseball stadium, so that's a whole different animal altogether, let alone just an arena.
Yeah, I got to be honest. You're asking me questions that I haven't even thought about.
Now you're starting to make them nervous.
Now I'm messing with your mojo.
Yeah, you're trying to make me nervous. I don't like plan the future. I don't like think about things too much. Like I'm sure on the day, like I'll like be really into it and enjoy it. But like a couple of days ago, someone said, "Hey, that's a baseball stadium you guys are wrestling at." I'm like, it hadn't even like crossed my mind up until when someone said that, and like I kind of like put it out of my mind again until you mentioned it. But I think it's better to just kind of live in the moment, and like
I agree.
When you get there on the day, like feel it and like see how you're feeling, and just kind of like try and create something on the day, because the more you try and like plan this type of stuff in advance and like build up all these expectations in your head, you're gonna like either drive yourself insane or be let down with the results. So I'm just gonna try and go with the flow on the day, and like I'm gonna do the best I can, but I'm gonna go out there and like I'm gonna be living in the moment, and hopefully like the people enjoy it. Hopefully I enjoy it, and hopefully like we knock it out the park. No pun intended.
One thing I will say, and Jay and I have also talked about this, we did I think it was TLC 2 at the Astrodome in Houston, and so we're having this train wreck tornado through a trailer park, and to a man all of us were like, man, that crowd didn't sound that great. Like, I don't know, we just thought it was going to be more, but it was our first time in a dome. So
yeah,
it was our first time with those acoustics. It was our first time with that size audience and everything. We watched it back, and they were unglued. And that to me was a big learning curve, and made me realize, oh, okay, it might be happening in the moment, but you just can't realize it because of what's around you, because of the building itself, things like that. So
yeah, no, that was always the same at the Tokyo Dome when we'd work out there. Like it almost it felt like you were working in front of no one. And then like the same kind of New Orleans at WrestleMania, like the crowd were rocking, but like it's like the acoustics, like the crowd can hear each other, but you can't really. All I can hear is the ring, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And you
like,
guys
I'm not supposed to be able to hear that. But then, like 2 weeks ago, I'm in Blackpool. I did like NXT UK, and that's like 2,000 people jammed into this little building, and it's like unexplainable noise and like atmosphere. So I don't know. Is there a roof on this baseball stadium?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
I don't think so. That was a part of our discussion earlier, but we weren't entirely sure. Tommy Dreamer would know.
Well, maybe if you put it out there in the universe and will a roof onto it, it'll happen.
I'll tell you what, Jay, there won't be one after.
There's a roof?
Yeah, there is one. There is a roof. So
Yeah,
there
it
you
can
go.
be opened and closed. This is off the Wikipedia page. Chase Field opened and closed depending on game time temperature.
There you
All
go.
right. Well, so
we
I'm
know.
guessing it'll be closed. There you go. Well, man, we're both looking forward to it. Like we said, this Rumble feels different, and it feels different because of your match, and just the differing styles of you and Brock. I think that's going to make for a really, really fun, enjoyable, just to sit down and watch that. I feel like Sasha and Ronda is different, and it has that, just everything feels different right now, and that's cool. And we talked about even the Rumble. It's like I have no idea who's going to win that thing. It's up for grabs. It's really a fun Rumble. So looking forward to watching, man. I hope you have fun.
Yeah, thanks, boys. I'm pretty sure I told you guys before that like you two guys are two guys I've looked up to for a long time, and how you guys handle yourself in your career after wrestling is something that I aspire to do with as grace as both of you guys do. So thank you.
Well,
Appreciate that, man. It means a lot.
It's debatable, but thank you.
I'll take it because I like when people put me over, so I'll take it.
And as you know, we're always here too. If
Yeah.
that, which is I know there's certain guys I can go to that I always kind of look to go, okay, I like the way they navigate things. So same goes for you.
I'll leave you
we
with
didn't
this.
even talk about your T-shirts.
Wait, I'll leave you with this though. I'm your Patrick Swayze.
When are we making pottery?
And I'm your Whoopi.
Yeah.
I think that's a great note to leave on.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Hey,
All right,
thanks
see you,
for the second time this week. Thanks for your time. This time we actually had a conversation, so really appreciate
Charge
it.
a mighty hour.
All right, well, send Edge the bill. He's got more money than me. See you, buddy.
Thanks, boys.
So that was a great chat. Again, I'm really looking forward to that show this weekend. And I quickly mentioned Finn's Fergal's T-shirt company, PENK. And you can check it out on Instagram. He's got a website at smileatspeak.com. And really cool shirts. He sent me a couple. He probably didn't send them to you, but he sent them to me.
Actually.
And oh, damn it. Well,
He sent me 3 of them, actually.
Great, good message, great artwork too. So check those out. And yeah, man, he's doing stuff. Great toque on here too. Ooh.
Yeah.
The kids call them beanies. I call them toques.
That's a Canadian term. Toque.
And at Finn Balor on Instagram, on Twitter, and all that good stuff. And this weekend, working Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship.
Right.
It's going to be a good one.
Right.
It's a great chat. Looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to this Rumble because, as I talked about in the beginning, this is fresh, it's new, and going back to the McMahon's announcement of like switching things up and flipping it on its head, that's what this feels like. So
yeah, it does have a distinctly different feel for me as well this year. And, you know, I think obviously a lot of it has to do with, you know, the Women's Royal Rumble and the title match as well being just as featured as the men's. You know, it's such a different feel in a very positive way for me.
Completely off topic. We occasionally have some hockey talk on this show.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? How you feeling about the Leafs?
Well, they just smoked the Capitals, so I feel really good about it.
I know, but the Capitals are on a, like, I think 7-game losing streak, so I don't know if that's necessarily...
Well, actually, Toronto had lost 7 out of their last 10, too.
Well, and they lost to Phoenix and to Florida and, like, brought their A-game for Tampa.
Right.
But that seems to be the thing. They're hit and miss, man.
Well, I mean, they're going to have
peaks
and valleys. They're going to have peaks and valleys. It's all good. Don't worry. They need a defenseman. We know this. They changed lineups around now. They got Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews playing together, which put Nylander and Kadri together, and you saw what happened there. I mean, Nazem Kadri had 4 points. Nylander had 3 points.
To me,
I think even out all the lines. It's good strategy. I like it.
Kadri is the engine of that team, if you ask me.
I love Nazem Kadri. I think he's great.
I truly do. I think when he plays his game, the way, you know, physical, getting in people's faces, always like being there in the scrums, good things happen for that team. And then obviously, you know, gets a hat trick. But to me, when he's going, that's when it feels like the rest of the team does too. I really feel like he's the engine of that team.
Yeah, I think that he's...
And he could use a couple more like him, honestly.
Yeah, I think Toronto's a little small, to be honest with you. I think they could use a little bit more size. You know, you got a guy like Wayne Simmons in Philadelphia who's an unrestricted free agent who they're talking about getting rid of if they can't re-sign, trading him. I think he's a Toronto guy. He'd be a perfect fit to me in Toronto. A guy that can stand in front of the net. You're not going to move him. He's a tough guy. He can fight a little bit. He can hit, and he'll stand in the dirty areas, and he'll stand in front of the net, and that's where he gets most of his goals. So
that would be.
He's been a 30-goal scorer on more than one occasion in the league. So I'd love to see him get a guy like Wayne Simmons.
You heard it right here, folks. You heard it.
Yeah. You might not care, but you heard it.
So here's, and this is again completely off topic, but I'm going here because you know what? It's our fucking show. Yeah. And anybody who knows me knows that at some point it's going to come back to music. So I'm reading this book. It's called Metaphysical Graffiti, which is a takeoff of Led Zeppelin album called Physical Graffiti, yada, yada, yada. First chapter is Beatles or Stones. So I am going to throw this out to you. Beatles or Stones?
Oh, man.
It's a biggie. And I don't know why they always get lumped together, but I think they just broke at around the same time, and we're both obviously
I don't know. I think I have to say Beatles.
Okay.
Right. And as always, if you like this podcast, remember to subscribe. And Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, or wherever you get your pods. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review.
And next week, I'm just throwing it out there now to the hosers. I need to have the discussion with you, Beatles or Stones.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that next week. And also we need to have a discussion of when I'm going to slap your ass.
Here we go.